What's going on, guys? Back with the draft grades. First on our list today is going to be Sho. Sho ended up taking Christian McCaffrey in the first round. Looked like a keeper, but it's not, obviously. He also took running back wise Marshawn Lynch in the third, Jamal Williams there in the sixth, and Peyton Barber got Bilal Powell and Latavius Murray late. Do like the depth there. You did cover yourself a little bit just in case Marshawn Lynch is super old and can't do anything anymore, or if Christian McCaffrey, who has been a stud this preseason, ends up going down or something of that nature. You still have some guys that are serviceable, assuming that Peyton Barber can keep Rojo off the field and keeps that job, which if you're looking at that 22 carries for 28 yards for Rojo on the preseason, it's not looking great for him to get playing too much this year. As far as wide receivers, you got Devontae Adams, who's now the number one facto there in Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers, which basically means he's going to get 10 touchdowns no matter what. Doug Baldwin is your number two. Pretty interesting. Took him in the third round. Might have been a little high based on him having the knee issues. Still not sure if he's going to be 100%. He himself said that he'd have to deal with it all season long. So could be a good pick. Also could be scary. He is typically a top 10 wide receiver, so having two could be super valuable. Golden Tate also was a top 10 wide receiver last year. PPR guy, about, knock him down for about 100 catches for 1,000 yards every year. Assuming that he hangs on to that and Marvin Jones doesn't continue to take over a little bit more of that role. And then Robbie Anderson is another player that's got a lot of value due to him last year. But most of that was based off long touchdowns. And with Sam Darnold, we're not really sure if you're going to see the same thing you did when he had McCown thrown to him last year. And then you took John Ross late. So you got four wide receivers to fill three spots basically every week. One of which is questionable with his knee, and the other one, you got five wide receivers, Robbie Anderson and John Ross. That's where I think is probably your weakest spot on your team, just because of Doug Baldwin having a little bit of question marks there, and Robbie Anderson not really sure if he's going to be repeating what he did last year, if he was a one-hit wonder or not. But you do have Devontae Adams and Golden Tate, who I think are going to be consistent starters for you week in and week out. Evan Ingram as your tight end was a stud as a rookie last year, but also everybody was hurt. So will he see the same amount of targets? Probably not, but he'll probably see less coverage too, so that'll probably help him out some. So he might be a little bit more efficient than he was last year. Took Phillip Rivers and Jimmy Garoppolo. Phillip Rivers late, which is nice. I mean, I think he's going to be a stud this year in that offense. He always seems to do well and finish kind of as a top 12 quarterback, but doesn't seem to ever blow you away with some of those weeks. So curious to see if he'll do a little bit better this year with a better offensive line, better defense, and a little bit more weapons to go after. Overall, I think this team is pretty solid, especially getting Baltimore Ravens defense, just for the fact that they played Buffalo in week one with Peterman starting, or Nathan Peterman, who threw, 5 interceptions on 7 attempts in a game last year. Really, really strong quarterback. Well, especially if you're playing, the defense against him. So that'll probably help you out a lot. Overall, though, I think the team is lacking some depth at wide receiver that's really going to cause some issues this season. I have a lot of shares in Doug Baldwin on other leagues, and I am worried. I'm terrified that he's going to kind of just be a guy, drop down into maybe a 30s overall wide receiver. And if you're taking him in the third round, you really don't want to have that, especially if you look at it and you could have taken Stephon Diggs, Hill, Mike Evans even, Amari Cooper, all those guys went after your Baldwin pick. So there were some guys on the board that I liked a lot more, and I think that you could have saved yourself some worry there. And the same thing with Marshawn Lynch. He could have a really good year, but he's also got a lot of other people in that backfield. They signed Doug Martin to do something. Whether that's going to be, actually playing a lot or just spelling Marshawn is yet to be seen. So we're not really sure about that. But after that, you could have taken Royce Freeman, who is, a number one running back for Denver, rookie, has a lot of buzz around him. And that's somebody that could have helped your team out a little bit more. But, time will tell. You know what Marshawn Lynch is, and you're hoping to get those touchdowns. So let's see what happens there. But overall, Sho, I gave your team a C. Once again, I think that you can pick up some more wide receiver help in the free agency. I think there's still a lot of value out there. And I don't think that you needed to take 2 quarterbacks. And you could have probably gotten yourself a little bit better on the wide receiver depth there. But overall, I think that you'll be all right. And I think that you could go either way. I mean, I think you're all on Doug Baldwin's knee. If he plays well, then you'll probably be a playoff team. But if he doesn't, I think you miss the playoffs this year. So overall, you got a C for this grade.